Okay, so it's common these days to talk about how modern day Democrats aren't like old Democrats, say like the person behind me here, Grover Cleveland, the 22nd and 24th president. And that's true on a lot of things. Like modern day Democrats are more liberal and wouldn't like, for instance, Grover Cleveland's stance on non-interventionism, meaning he didn't want the government getting involved in anything. There's flooding and storms down in Mississippi during his term, and he really doesn't want any federal money. You let the states handle that. I don't want any federal money going there. And he wanted a very hard currency, which make it harder for average people to get credit. But there's one issue where modern day liberals and Grover Cleveland behind me would see eye to eye very much, and that is on the tariff, and that is on free trade. There were very high tariffs in the 19th century designed to protect American manufacturers, and Grover Cleveland did not like it and did everything he could to stop it. And when he approached this issue, this is important. He didn't approach it just as a conservative, although there were arguments that it wasn't really good for the management of the United States and things like that. Created a big surplus. There were conservative arguments to make, but he also approached it as a populist, and even you could say as a liberal. He was concerned that the average farmer would be paying more for items. You buy a pitchfork, you buy a tin cup, it costs you more because there's no foreign competition or it's limited by these tariffs. I have to buy it from the Massachusetts company or the Illinois company. And there are even some enlightened people like Farquhar, a manufacturer from York, Pennsylvania, who agreed with him and supported his campaign because Farquhar, who know he had a factory, knew that there were markets abroad he could be appealing to if there was free trade. And he liked Grover Cleveland's leadership generally. When Grover Cleveland made arguments, sometimes they were very populist. In fact, this is one of the few issues, if you know about William Jennings Bryan, the great populist orator, would have been opposed to most of Cleveland's policies, but not the tariff. In the tariff, they were in lockstep opposing Republicans like McKinley and others who wanted a high tariff, artificially propping up American companies and sometimes creating monopolies. That's a side effect of tariffs that our 18th century cousins would know. Now, I'm grabbing a book called Grover Cleveland, A Study in Courage. I don't know if you could see it. Arthur Nevin's very good book, because I want to see an argument that he makes, which sounds very much like a liberal argument today. They say, as a matter of course, if you increase the value of the domestic product, the American manufacturer is able to pay higher wages. So tariffs are pro worker, right? Unquestionably, manufacturers are able to pay more, but does the manufacturer do it? Cleveland asks. No. Mr. Jay Gould, with his immense income from his railroad property, is able to pay his bootblack $500 a day if he wants. But does he do it? No. So you see in this one issue on tariffs, on free trade, where Democrats are almost back to their 19th century, at least on this one issue. I'm not saying about the other stuff, and where Grover Cleveland would very much be on the same side against high tariffs such as those announced. Liberation Day for Grover Cleveland would be the day the tariffs were reduced, as they were in 1913. Thanks for listening.